to control your buoyancy during the ascent. You do a buoyant emergency ascent when you run out of air at greater depths. You drop your weight belt and gently exhale all the way to the surface. You must get yourself horizontal in the water and be facing up to create as much surface area as possible to slow your ascent as you approach the surface. It's easy to keep track of your buddy in controlled conditions where visibility is good and the area is limited. Maintaining contact with your buddy in open water is not as easy. The best ways to keep track of your buddy are: agree on a leader for each dive, discuss the dive before you get in the water, and agree on the location, purpose, activity, and general course you will follow underwater. Maintain your same position relative to one another for your entire dive. Establish your direction of travel underwater and follow that heading until you or your buddy suggest a change. Use the lost buddy procedure if you lose your buddy. Get yourself vertical in the water and look in all directions for your buddy or their bubbles. If you are in low visibility water, 3 meters or 10 feet or less, return to where you last saw your buddy and start your search there. Rise about 3 meters or 10 feet in the water and look again for your buddy or their bubbles. Ascend slowly to the surface after a minute if you do not see your buddy. Keep turning as you ascend and look for your buddy or their bubbles. Surface, note your position relative to 2 points on shore and wait for your buddy. When your buddy surfaces, get back together and continue your dive. If your buddy doesn't surface within 5 minutes and you're in an area where help is readily available, signal for help. It is your role in the emergency to contact and guide the help. There are standard signals you need to know to communicate underwater as well as on the surface. The NAUI diving hand signals are standard in the United States diving community and are usually recognized in other countries as well. As a certified diver, you must be able to correctly identify and use each signal. Remember, for a signal to be effective, all concerned must discuss it and agree upon it before you start the dive. Proper use of signals is necessary for every dive. You probably realize that communication is not easy underwater. When you give a hand signal, you must display it distinctly, and you must wait for a response from your buddy. Your buddy acknowledges the signal by either repeating it or giving you the OK sign. You can write messages to your buddy on an underwater slate. This is a handy way to give detailed messages. You can also touch your buddy to gain his attention. However, avoid touching from behind so as not to startle them. Most charter boats have underwater recall devices that sound like a siren. If you hear the recall signal while you are underwater, you must surface and look to the boat for instructions. At the surface, you can use different types of audible and visual signals to communicate. You use some of the standard hand signals at the surface. If you wave to someone from the surface, it is a sign of distress, not a way to say hello. Dive boats have a blue and white flag that they fly when they want divers to return to the boat. When you see this flag, return immediately to the boat. A whistle is often used at the surface. A repeated series of 4 short blasts on a whistle is a standard distress signal. Removing your scuba unit in the water is as easy as removing a jacket. Unclip any buckles you have, pull your left arm out of the armhole, and use your right arm to pull the unit around to your right. To don the unit over your head, position your BC in front of you with the cylinder under the BC. The first stage of the regulator is toward you, and the second stage is in your mouth. Keep the hose from your second stage between your arms. Fasten your waistband and reclip any buckles at the front of your BC. When removing and replacing scuba, consider that if you are on the bottom, you'll want to be negative. Always breathe from your regulator when you are donning the unit. You must learn to refasten your waistband and buckles by feel. Before you refasten your waistband and clips, feel to make sure that your straps are not twisted and your hoses are not trapped. To discard the weight belt, undo the buckle and pull the tail of the weight belt free of the buckle and pull the belt completely away from your body. The weights will hang in a direct line towards the bottom. Release the weight belt. If you are handling it out of the water, make sure the person you are giving it to has a firm grip before you let go. To remove and replace your weight belt on the bottom, undo the buckle and pull the tail of the weight belt free of the buckle. Make any modifications to your weight belt. Hold the weight belt with the free end in your right hand, drop the buckle, and rotate your body to the left. The weight belt will drape across your thighs. Reach down your left side with your left hand and feel for the buckle. Slide the weight belt up your back and position it under your cylinder and BC at your waist. Rebuckle the weight belt securely. To know where you are and to be able to get where you want to go and back is the objective of underwater navigation. Natural aids underwater will soon become as useful to you as street signs. Ripple marks in the sand on the bottom form parallel to the shore. As you get closer to shore, the ripple marks get closer together. You will see underwater landmarks such as rock formations, large and unique plants, crevices, and wrecks. When diving at night or with limited visibility, you must rely on a compass and your depth gauge. Using a compass allows you to navigate by dead reckoning. When you use a compass, you keep the lubber line aligned with the center line of your body. You can wear your compass on your wrist or mount it on your console with the rest of your diving instruments. The compass needle always points magnetic north. If you point the lubber line towards the shore, the compass needle points to one point. Rotate the index marks on the bezel to mark the position of the needle, so you'll know that when the needle is pointed between the two marks, you are swimming toward the shore. A reciprocal course is made when your outbound course is in a straight line and halfway through your dive you make a 180-degree turn, which the compass enables you to do precisely. To make a 180-degree turn, you swivel around until your compass needle is directly opposite your original reference marker. Simple navigational techniques make diving more enjoyable. Knowing where you are will help you avoid long surface swims. You'll save time, air, and be able to spend more time enjoying the objective of your dive. After diving, you must disassemble your scuba gear and rinse it with fresh water. Turn off your air in a clockwise direction. Push and hold the purge button on one of your second stages or power inflator to relieve the air pressure in the hoses of your regulator. Unscrew the yoke screw from the cylinder valve. Dry the dust cap attached to the first stage of your regulator. Replace the dust cap over the inlet to the first stage of your regulator and tighten the yoke screw until it's finger tight. Remove your BC from the cylinder. Turn the BC upside down so that the power inflator hose attachment point is at the lowest point. This will allow any water in the BC to drain down into the hose. Press the deflator oral inflator valve button to allow the water to drain out of the power inflator hose. Rinse your equipment with fresh water and allow it to dry completely before storing it. Chapter 4. Diving Science. The underwater world presents a new and totally different environment from the air world in which you live. As you descend below the surface, the increased pressure will have direct and indirect effect on your body. However, most of your time underwater you will not be aware of or feel these effects. If you pick up one scuba cylinder with air in it at 1 bar or 1 atmosphere and another just like it filled with air to its rated pressure, the second is about 2 to 4 kilograms or 4 to 8 pounds heavier than the first. This is because the compressed air is more dense. Air has weight. 1 liter of air weighs 1.25 grams. 1 liter of fresh water weighs 1 kilogram, and 1 liter of salt water weighs 1.025 kilograms. In the imperial measurement system, this is expressed as 0.08 pounds per 1 cubic foot of air, or 62.4 pounds per cubic foot for fresh and 64 pounds per cubic foot for salt water. Air is a mixture of different gases. The gases are colorless, odorless, and tasteless. Air is composed of approximately 20.9% oxygen, 78% nitrogen, and 1.1% of miscellaneous gases. The most important component of air to us is oxygen. We cannot survive without oxygen. Nitrogen is a metabolically inert gas. Dissolved nitrogen is present in your body, and additional nitrogen is absorbed in your body when you are under increased pressure underwater. Some divers use special mixtures of gases, such as nitrox, for diving. These mixtures contain different percentages of oxygen and nitrogen than air. Air can be easily compressed. When pressure is applied to a volume of air, it can be forced to occupy a much smaller area.